Since there's popular demand for it, let me just break this thing down and explain it once more. So when it comes to actually handing things in correctly, the guidelines that I put up here were because these are things that went horribly wrong in the past, and so in order to make sure these things don't happen in the future and affect students' performance or ability to hand things in, or having things get lost in the email and not knowing where they landed, these instructions are here to make sure that as long as you follow them, then you can pretty much count on me having received your emails. So here's what I'm asking. Given what we have right here, this is the exam 1 part. Okay, so the way we hand that one in is first and last name, student ID, the class, the section number, and the name of the actual submission. So in this case would be exam 1, right? So taking that and combining it with the .java files. Up here I said that you should be handing in only .java source files and .txt files, which are produced or read from your .java files. Okay, so please, this is coding. It can't be JPEG or PDF or something like pages or anything. It has to be actual code because I need to be able to see the code and read the code and run the code if necessary. Also, things like RAR and 7-zip, I can't quite open those on just any old machine, so it's important to send them by that machine, by normal zip files. So after you've done that, please send your files, your submission that's a zipped up folder, to my online email, silversurferonline@gmail.com. All right. Make sure that you comment your code. All right. That's the only way I really know that you know what you're doing, is to see that you're commenting with your design decisions. Now, one thing I want to make sure you guys do know is that you can send rough drafts, right? And even though it's an exam, you can ask about rough drafts. You can set up office hours. Those things aren't off limits. So make sure you take, make good on your ability to use them. And as for how things are zipped up, if you're using a Mac, here's what I normally do. So here you have the assignment submission rules. Let me just create a new folder right here. Okay, so if I wanted to send this folder with my assignment in here, for me it would be something to the effect of my first name, last name, all right, as well as my CUNY ID, as well as the class that I'm in. So that would be CIS 115. This section, I'll just take it for summer 1 and 2. Okay, for 2021, I guess you want to put it that way. All right, so that's what that is, but I should also make sure I know what it is I'm trying to ask for credit for. So in my case, I'm asking to get credit for exam 1. All right, and once I have that, as you can see, I now have that new folder there. So what I will put in that folder, just going to take a copy of my submission rules and throw them in there. And I'll take a copy of my CISC exam. Now mine is different from yours. You don't have yours yet, but notice here everything that you need is almost right there at your fingertips. All you gotta do is add your name and your ID number, and then you can return things back to me. So now for that part right there, taking this exam piece, let me just see where I placed it. It is exam summer 21. All right, so in that case, I'm going to take this guy as well. All right, and I'm going to also throw him into my folder. right there. Okay, so now if I take a look at my folder, I have more than one file. Okay, I should have had more than one file there. No problem. But once I do have a couple of files in there, then I can take everything put together and actually begin to, I can actually then begin to send my submission after I zip everything up, right? So the other things that are supposed to be in here would also include my source files, right? So .java files is also part with a .txt file. And then once I have all those things in there, I'm just going to then go to my folder, okay? And I am going to choose to compress it. So on a Mac, you compress like this, okay? And sometimes it'll give you a choice if you want zip or something else. I try to make sure mine is always on zip. So this would be my attachment for my email, okay? And given that, all I need are certain distinct attachments, and I am good to go. I can then email it to myself. So now everything for that should be in one particular folder. Now, in the event they were submissions for different chapters of a book, then yes, I expect them to be split up as 3 different submissions, because you don't do them all once at the same time unless you're cramming. I know some people do cram, but sequentially, this thing's supposed to work out sequentially. That way you're actually studying and not cramming. So, given that, and given the email that I sent to the Google group not too long ago with the example for self-tests 1, 2, and 3, this is basically what I'm asking, okay? Also, in the subject line of an email, let's suppose that we have a subject line in one of our emails. My email client is right somewhere. Okay, so just going to go there and I'm just going to open it up a bit. And in that particular case, I just want to make sure that whatever emails I send out, they, for their own part, should have the appropriate subject line, right? So this is not my subject line. My subject line is down here. That's where I should be saying how important whatever it is, okay? Then I should be then attaching my files to the email document itself and then hit send. All right, so that's the whole thing that I've been talking about all this time, and hopefully you guys will use things to your advantage. If you run into trouble, please don't tell me after the fact. Tell me ahead of time, that way I can try to accommodate people if I